Okay, good evening everyone. Thank you.
Morning.
Lost,
It's okay, it's day 6.
okay, good morning everyone. Thank you for coming today here in Tampines. So I'd like to start off by getting my party colleague, okay, Michael Thng, to say something, few words.
Hi everyone, nice to see a lot of familiar faces here today. Welcome to Tampines. We've had an incredible 5 days, meeting a lot of the residents here, had a really warm reception. We're very cheered by a lot of the kind of, embraces and welcome that we've had from a lot of the residents here. The most common refrain we keep hearing is how long they've waited for us to be here, and so we're very happy to be able to give them a choice this election and to be given the chance to serve them for the next 5 years. Our commitment to the residents of Tampines is that we'll ensure we get their estate right. We'll lean on the experience that we've had in Aljunied, in Sengkang, in Hougang, to ensure that we keep, the corridors clean, the plants pruned, the paint fresh, and to ensure that they would have a very nice living environment here in Tampines. We'll of course lean on as well the 15 years of experience that MP Faisal has had to ensure that they will have no issues with the estate. In addition, our commitment is to ensure that we support all the government agencies that will need the support from us to ensure the 5-year Tampines Master Plan gets brought to fruition, and that everything in there will see the light of day and will see completion over the next 5 years. Of course, above that, we commit to be the voice for all our residents here in Tampines. We've heard many of the issues that they've shared with us over the last 5 days, particularly around cost of living, around housing. These are issues that we will fearlessly advocate for them in Parliament and will be their strong voice for them. We look forward to the polls on May 3rd, and we look forward for a chance to serve Tampines. Thank you.
The next one I would like to call upon my colleague here, Eileen.
Hi everyone, I'm Eileen. I guess no guesses what language I'll be speaking in. So maybe just say some words in Mandarin since Michael has already spoken in English. So 我们过去的5天在当兵营活动的时候，其实非常开心，有很多居民都非常的热情，上前跟我们说就是非常支持还有鼓励的话，然后也非常高兴说我们工人党听到了他们多年以来的呼唤，然后终于来到了当兵营。然后大家可能会比较好奇的就是我们过去5天里边都从可能跟居民在互动的时候都听到一些什么，就像刚才 Michael 所提到的，首先的话可能就是市政管理方面的一些问题，那这些的话可能我们工人党的团队肯定是承诺会做的最好，然后在我们从2011年开始从管理安育尼到一直到2020年接手盛港，我们一直以来的那个记录的话，大家可能都是有目共睹的。所以我们也希望把这个经验带到当兵尼来，然后希望让当兵尼继续成为大家非常宜居的一个市镇。那当然，之前在年前也公布了那个当兵尼的5年的蓝图计划。那我们肯定也会积极的配合各个政府部门去推行，以及让这个计划可以实践。那第二呢，肯定就是在国会上为当兵尼的居民们发声。要怎么为他们发声呢？肯定就是先多在当兵尼的各个角落走走。倾听居民们的一些心声，然后把这些心声反馈到国会里边，然后我也相信以我还有我的团队的经验，可以把这件事情做得很到位。谢谢大家。
Okay, for now let me have few words in Malay, then I will take questions from you all. Okay, Assalamualaikum semua. Kami sponsor saya Faisal Manap. InsyaAllah kami akan lakukan terbaik dalam pengurusan bandaran Tampines kalau kita dipilih lah. InsyaAllah dengan pengalaman yang saya ada selama 14 tahun sebagai majlis bandaran di AHTC dan juga sebagai pengurusi selama 3 tahun. Dan juga kami berbesar hati dengan sambutan yang diberi, sehingga kan seperti saya katakan dalam saya punya ucapan rapat umum, hati saya cair, melting heart lah basically, dan ada sambutan yang amat baik insyaAllah. Okay, jadi kami akan melakukan yang terbaik dari segi menguruskan majlis bandaran dan juga insyaAllah akan menjadi seorang dari Parlimen, insyaAllah. Okay. Now I'd like to open.
Okay, saya Zaini dari Pritam Media Company. Soalan pertama saya, semasa hari penamaan calon, Cik Pritam mengatakan anda sudah lama ingin bertanding di Tampines. Apakah sebabnya? Dan soalan saya yang kedua, ramai yang melihat ini persaingan Cik Faisal menentang Cik Mas Agus. Adakah ini anda kongsi sentimen ini?
Okey, pertama sekali memang saya pernah mengatakan pada Cik Pritam, saya dalam setahun 2 yang lepas lah. Mula-mula ia sebagai satu luahan saja, tak ada tersirat niat. Tapi lama kelamaan tu timbul perasaan tu. Ni perasaan daripada hati ke terus keluar dari mulut lah. Jadi saya tak mengatakan tak ada plan langsung, memang ada plan. Cuma baru ni memang perasaan tu kuat dan saya luahkan pada Cik Pritam mengatakan saya ingin ke Tampines. Actually, yalah, kita bertanding dalam GRC. Kita bertanding sebagai satu pasukan. Bukan setakat saya dengan Cik Mas Agus, kita bertanding sebagai satu pasukan, 5 orang. Jadi ialah pertandingan antara 2 pasukan, parti pekerja dengan parti PAP. Yeah.
Morning, Mr. Manap.
Morning.
This is your first time leading the GRC in Tampines.
Okay.
So, for the past 5 days, what are some of the ground sensing that you have got from the residents and with response to the identity politics that has been surfaced the past day?
Okay.
Are there some concerns by the residents about this?
Okay, so far generally, okay, the Tampines community from different backgrounds, different races and faith group, they're very warm. Okay, just whether you just met, just some of the uncle and auntie actually give me a very close hug and take photo with me. So there's no sentiment about okay, I'm a Malay Muslim, okay, they are Chinese. There's a kind of hurdle or barrier in between. I don't feel that, and that has been the way for me for 14 years in Kaki Bukit. Alright, and in Kaki Bukit we have a lot of Tuchunang also. Okay, if you go to Kaki Bukit, maybe some of you can go to Kaki Bukit yourself, find out more. Do some ground research, ask the people at the 511 market and 528 market, who is Faisal Manap there, alright? So I don't think there's any issue about me being a minority. I cannot represent or become the voice of the majority, which is the Chinese majority in this Tampines GRC. Yeah.
Mr. Faisal, over here. Can I just get some comments about the no Dero situation?
Okay, so to me basically, right, okay, I'm open to meet up anyone, right, even from different groups, even from those other minority groups. Okay, I'm open to meet everyone for the sake of listening, because I always press for an open conversation, especially in Parliament. Okay, there's so many things that I press for in Parliament which are deemed as sensitive. Okay, but I tell them that that's the right way to move forward. We must believe in the value of unity with diversity, right? If you keep on, pressing, suppress, okay, one day you can blow up, and that's something which I feel that you shouldn't stop people from voicing out. But it doesn't mean that when we listen to people, right, we agree to them. No, we acknowledge them, we listen to them, right? So to show that, okay, we respect your views, but it doesn't mean that we agree to you, right?
Faisal, my question is, how do you think worker parties of MPs, if elected, can focus more fully on residents than
Okay, so basically, again, I come back to the point where we have been sharing so much about being loyal to Singapore and Singaporean. And if you have seen for the past 14 years, okay, maybe let's talk about the one term ago lah. Okay, the numbers of questions that we have asked in Parliament as compared to PAP. So I think that number tells everything. Yeah.
Right now, it seems like you're being pitted quite a bit with Mr. Masaros. Can I get your thoughts about it? And do you think there's any way for this fight not to be just between both of you, or it's something?
Yeah, I think this question was asked by Pritam Mediacorp. So, yeah, it's okay. No, because it's because I translate this. This is the competition between 2 teams. Okay, GRC 5-member team, right? Okay, so basically it's more of a team versus another team. So I don't see myself as going against my target. But again, being in the GRC, okay, which is a system established by the PAP, you must have a minority, and here I am, minority for the team. Yeah.
I have another question,
Yep.
sorry. How do you foresee any negative aspect where the MP in Parliament is not a minister?
Sorry, again.
Do you foresee any negative aspect if elected to the Parliament where the MP in Parliament is not a minister?
I think it benefits to a certain extent, like what who's the alternate GRC? Oh, Daniel Liu, okay. Daniel Liu mentioned actually that minister a bit too busy because they're occupied with issues, right? Okay, and also when we won GE 2011 in alternate GRC, okay, I heard, okay, I don't know whether it's true or not, that people are not so happy because Minister George Yeo then Minister George Yeo and SMS Zainal Sapari, okay, they were from MFA, both. So we heard, personally I heard, they were not there as often as they should because they're away. So being a non-political office holder, the advantage is we have more time, right, to listen to the ground, we have more time going around doing estate check. think that's the advantage we have. We were not holding a political office.
Encik Faisal, saya tahu anda katakan ya berpasukan. Tapi kita tahu ini undi di Tampines sangat penting untuk masyarakat Melayu. Kerana kita mungkin dapat Menteri Melayu Islam yang baru atau kita kehilangan pembangkang pertama Melayu Islam. Jadi mungkin mesej anda untuk masyarakat Melayu.
Dalam sistem demokratik ni, kita akan memberi pilihan. Pilihan di mana pada para pengundi, mereka kena buat pilihan lah. Yang penting saya lakukan terbaik. Saya memberi mesej yang mengatakan saya akan melakukan demikian dan demikian. Cik Mas Agus pun ada peluang untuk menunjukkan apa yang beliau ingin lakukan untuk masyarakat. Jadi kita balik pada masyarakat, balik pada pihak pengundi itu untuk memilih. Kerana kuasa itu adalah di tangan rakyat.
Sir, do you have anything to say to voters who might want to vote for you because of what Norderos is saying about you?
You wanted to vote for me?
No, it's what would you say to voters who want to vote for you because of what Norderos is saying you will do supposedly?
Oh, okay. Meaning that they're being influenced by Norderos?
Yes.
Okay, I believe that all voters have they are smart enough to consider, to weigh the different factors and to weigh the different argument. So I leave it to the intelligence of the voters, and I respect the voters' decision to vote whoever they want to vote.
Mr. Parliament over here. Yesterday, Mr. Lee Hsien Loong made some comments about the Workers' Party's delayed response to foreign
Oh, okay,
interference.
okay.
I'd like to know what was the Workers' Party doing during that brief period.
Okay, can you just give me exactly what do you mean by the brief period? How long?
There was just a response to his comments.
Yeah, betul-betul you mentioned the word brief, right? So actually it's really brief. Okay, I think the statement came out on something like the day before you made that statement. So we have campaigning. Okay, I don't even know what's going on. Until I look at my phone and until someone push it to me the message. So I think the word brief in this campaigning period, right, is a bit subjective lah. But to me, we have 9 days. That moment of the next day, I don't think it's even a full day, right? Just a half a day or maybe 3/4 days. I don't think that is appropriate to say as brief lah, right? Within this kind of period where everybody is focusing on campaigning, and telling people what we're going to do for them. Yeah.
So the Workers' Party was busy during this period to make a response.
No, not only Workers' Party. I think everyone is busy. I think for them, maybe the PP, maybe they have the machineries to push them, to feed them with the information. But as for us, as what Pritam mentioned, we are a small party. We are still doing our best, and with the constraint that we have, I think we were trying our best to do everything within the compact period. Yeah.
Mr. Changkat said in a roundabout discussion yesterday that the Worker Party imitates PAP policies and positions, and that many of your party's proposals do not actually work.
Okay.
Yeah, so what are your
I bring back to the point, I don't know which minister mentioned that no one's
It's a monopoly.
has the monopoly of the policies, basically. So that I believe answer the question.
For Michael about the young people.
Sure.
And Mr. Michael, could
Hi.
I just ask, at the end of the roundtable,
Yes.
Mr. Changkat also mentioned that the Workers' Party should be held at the same standards as the PAP. Could I get your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it makes sense to hold all the parties to the same standard. To think about when you consider this vote, looking at team versus team, I think that should be how residents think about it. And I'll let voters decide.
Can ask Mr. Singh some questions, please?
Yes, Afifa,
Singh,
go
we
ahead.
could begin with the Income Alliance saga that's been going on. At the rally last night, SMD said that the Workers' Party had nothing to do with blocking the deal in Parliament. His words, because the Workers' Party MPs abstained from the vote. And he argued that if the Workers' Party were in government, then the deal would have gone through. What is your response to this, and how do you explain to voters about the abstention? I know you said it in your New Year message.
Yeah, so that's precisely the point that you took the answer out of my mouth, Afifa. There was a good reason that was provided in Parliament on the record, on the Hansard, why that abstention was necessary from the Workers' Party. I think that's clear. Maybe the senior minister has forgotten about it or only wants to present one side of the facts. But I think that answer is very clear on the Hansard, and I invite the media to actually look at that answer. In terms of the income, Alia, what was your first question again, Afifa? Sorry.
He said that the Workers' Party had nothing to do with blocking the...
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're not in government. The way the senior minister characterized the issue is if we were in government or if we were in charge, but we weren't in charge, right? And in fact, he laid out an interesting analogy and sidestepped the issue that I brought up in the rally, which was raised by CNA. No Labour MP spoke up in August. And he countered by saying, no, there were 6 other PAP MPs who filed a question, 1 PAP MP filed a question. It puts into perspective the ratio of how many PAP MPs there are in Parliament and how many Workers' Party MPs there are in Parliament. The ratio isn't 1:6. It's closer to 1:9. And that's something that the voters have to think about very carefully. Because even if you look at the entire slate, there are 26 candidates that the Workers' Party has put forward. If Singaporeans vote all these candidates into Parliament, the ratio is still only going to be about 2 or 3 to 9. 2 to 9, closer to 3 to 9. Government has enough space, enough leeway, enough focus to deal with the issues of today and tomorrow.
On that note, though, sir, Assembly also said that voting in more opposition MPs could mean losing key ministers,
Yes.
Which he said would affect Singapore's ability to handle crisis, manage the economy. One example is, of course, DPM Guard that he says is
Yes.
valuable to PAP.
Yes.
You position it as Workers' Party backbenchers versus PAP's backbenchers. What is your response to this argument that a stronger opposition comes at the cost of effective governance for Singapore, and the positioning that Mr. Lee has put forth in particular?
I think it's a weak argument. It's a weak argument because precedent informs us otherwise. Let's look at Giorgio. I remember in 2011, I think it was Senior Minister, ESM Goh, who said, he's a core member of the cabinet, not just a cabinet member, but within cabinet there's a group of core members, and he was in the core membership. So, and I remember at that point also, a reporter asked him, is Mr. Tharman in the core membership? And he said, no, Mr. Tharman is not in the core membership yet. So we know within cabinet there's a smaller group of people. And so I take that argument one step further actually. Giorgio did not succeed in the 2011 elections. Did suddenly our foreign ministry lose its bearings? It did not. Because there's so much depth in Parliament, even though you may have 1/3 of Parliament in opposition hands. So I'm very surprised to hear these arguments. In fact, if you think a little bit harder about it, it just reflects on the PAP.
Sorry, Mr. Pritam, but would you say that this is a different situation considering how Mr. Gan Kim Yong has many titles under his belt? For instance, he's heading the MAS, he's also heading the crisis response for the tariffs, especially
Yes.
foreign trade.
With respect, I think Mr. Giorgio held a significant number of portfolios and issues under his belt. Look, his influence is even felt till today. He's got incredible links all over the world, and I'm sure Mr. Gan Kim Yong will retain these links all over the world. And I'm sure there's no difficulty in the PAP government, including Mr. Gan Kim Yong, even if he is not elected, in some of these discussions, if they deem him to be so critical and important. Can I get your name? Ching, go ahead. A very interesting way to frame an argument, I would say. But I think the best response for Mr. Thng is what he's done over the last 5 years in NTUC. He's led NTUC. Have workers been disenfranchised in any way because of his leadership in NTUC and also not being in Parliament at the same time? I don't think so. So again, for all intents and purposes, I don't think Mr. Ng Chee Meng's rebuttal really hits the target.
Mr. Pritam, one more over here.
I didn't get your name, sorry.
Muhammad from CNA.
Muhammad what?
Just Muhammad.
There are a lot of Muhammads in Singapore. Okay, Muhammad, thank you.
Mr. Lee Hsien Loong also made the comment yesterday that the Workers' Party has recognized that there will still be a strong government after the election.
Yes.
So as a way to recognize that PAP has done quite well. So do you have any comments about that?
I would take one step back and look at it in terms of the evolution of our political system. I attempted to allude to it in my rally, the second rally, where I spoke of a 1G PAP looking after Singapore with about 2 million people and a 4G PAP today looking after a population of about 6 million people. It's a more diverse political system. There are different demands from different groups, and I believe Singaporeans want to see that diversity expressed in Parliament. and not just a diversity so that there could be a fight or an argument in Parliament. I think the Workers' Party record in Parliament speaks for itself. Very rational debate where we agree, we are not hesitant to say we agree. Where we disagree, we will explain why we disagree. And I think Singaporeans respect that sort of interaction in Parliament. We've not turned Parliament into a circus. And I think Singapore can scale greater heights with a more balanced political system.
KK from Channel 8.
Hi, KK.
Assembly also mentioned that WP saying WP only contesting in less than 1/3 of the seats, and the PAP will still form the next government. But Assembly say other opposition parties also contesting in almost every constituency. So PAP could end up less than half of the seats.
Do you think that is possible? Yeah, you don't know. I also don't know. And I think but I think people look around. I can't speak for the other parties. I have respect for them because I know how difficult it is to get good candidates on your slate. But we've got the best people we can find, and I think this is the strongest WP slate many Singaporeans have seen in many years. And we do need to bring in these people into Parliament. And what I would say is there will not be any filibustering in Parliament by the Workers' Party. We're not going to jam up the government or block the government. I think we're going to behave faithfully in Parliament, faithfully towards the people of Singapore and the country itself.
David, Straight Times.
Hi, David.
I wanted to ask, how will you respond to Ong Lue Ping saying that you have to go beyond buzzwords for your policy proposals?
Which policy is he speaking of?
Which manifesto is he?
Okay, maybe you can ask him what he's talking about.
Mr. Pritam, sorry, one more.
Yes, Mohammed.
Yesterday, Mr. Ong Lue Ping as well made the comment that NTUC is not a trampoline for the ministers, and he gave the argument that they have to go through elections. Do you have any responses to that?
I don't agree with him.
But he was also making a rebuttal against your point about it being a trampoline.
I don't agree with the rebuttal as well. It is a trampoline.
Okay, one more comment then.
Yes.
Mr. Ong Lue Ping also said that Ms. Sylvia Lim previously mentioned that the Workers' Party do not have a plan for the incumbent areas. So there is no Jalan Kayu plan. So would you have any comments about that?
Do you want to deal with that, Sylvia?
Sure. Okay, so I was saying during the candidate introduction that for the areas where WP is not incumbent, our unique proposition to the voters is actually to be the strongest voice that we can offer in Parliament, and emphasizing the fact that when we make our decisions, whether it is how we vote or what agenda we like to canvass, we do it independently. We don't answer to anyone except what they think is in the welfare of Singaporeans. As for 5-year plans, I mean, I do not know whether in Aljunied, Hougang or Sengkang there have been 5-year plans put up by the PAP teams there, and there's a reason for that, meaning that one can only put up, I would say, credible and feasible 5-year plans if one is actually in office and one gets to understand, first of all, the lay of the land, what is the history behind certain features being approved or not approved. We have to understand what are the funding available to the team to tap on, and also for the town council, what is their financial position. So all these things, right, it doesn't make sense for contesting teams to actually make promises that have no substance. I mean, we need to understand the situation more clearly. So that is the context of what I was saying.
Sylvia, is it okay to give a Chinese answer regarding the income alliance deal? Assembly 说工人党只有和平如发了 PQ， 如果是工人党 in charge 的话，那这个 deal 是会 gone through.
Okay, so maybe I would just say in English because I have to beg your forgiveness that my Chinese is not good enough to talk about alliance and NTUC income in Chinese. I mean, I would second what Pritam Singh said earlier about how we responded in Parliament. And also just to emphasize that the reason why we actually cast an abstention vote then is because there are also other concerns about the way this thing is handled. Like the deal was already, being publicized and being, worked on. I think the parties had certain legitimate expectations and they had been in consultation with the government authorities all this while. Okay, and then to suddenly change the law to affect a live transaction. Okay, so this business certainty-wise is actually not good for Singapore, right? And in Parliament, actually, there's a procedure for this, meaning that if a law is going to affect parties in a live transaction, the logical and actually the correct thing to do is to send the bill to select committee to hear from the parties that are affected as to how this law will actually jeopardize or undermine them before we pass the law. So we had compromised on all these things. So we had to make that point. We didn't oppose the bill, but we had to abstain because we value Parliament as a check on government actions. We think that people have a right to talk to the Parliamentary Select Committee, so that's the reason.
But can I get some question for the Tampines team? Okay. Yeah, maybe you can find out what are some of the issues that you are come across after speaking to some residents on the ground. I mean, there's cost of living that everybody talks about, but specifically for Tampines.
Okay, specifically for Tampines, okay, as in any part of Singapore, right, we have a lot of frustration about, again, to come back to cost of living, because that's the main thing that we got from the ground. And also, one very heartening words from them, as what we mentioned by Michael earlier on, that most of them did mention, are still mentioning, the time they meet us, they've been waiting for you for so long. Some of them say we have been waiting for you for 20 years, some 30 years, some 15 years. And coming from the cross-generational, meaning of different group age. So that's something that, the message has been given to us, and they say that they trust us, they want us to be their voice in Parliament. Yeah.
Did you come across any municipal issues?
I do, but again, I have to be fair in the sense that I can't promise them anything at this point in time. As I mentioned to them, as what Sylvia mentioned, we need to know the ground. We need to be responsible and rational in terms of going to the ground and look up for such municipal issues. Yeah. So my advice for them, okay, we take things one at a time. Since you're being elected, some of them I give my personal number. This is me. In Changkat, there's so many people having my number, have a direct communication with me. Because I believe in it'd be better if they can able to give me a specific location for specific issues. So as easy as they go using the phone. One service, right? This is Faisal service. Okay, Faisal service where I give my phone to them, they will WhatsApp to me. Yeah, I will do the same for if I come to this. That's me lah. Okay.
Sorry, I have a question for Mr. Singh. So this is regarding the current landscape of voters. You have been on the ground with your many teams at many different places. So observations and the challenges that your team face in terms of now we have a younger generation of voters, their mentality, and how do you plan to campaign for the rest of this nation?
So we are a pan-national party. We are, and I think in Singapore, unlike other jurisdictions, you don't have particular places where there's a certain type of voter. We're actually quite well spread out across Singapore. It's a small island, and most of the issues, there's significant overlap. Yes, there are unique issues in certain areas, but our value proposition always has been to invite people to have a more balanced political system. If you regard it important, if you want a balanced political system, you have to vote in favor of it. You can't have a balanced political system if you keep voting for the same people in white. But what we have done is we're not just asking you to cast your vote recklessly. We've taken a lot of effort to put across a good team of people, different age groups, different circumstances. Some singles, some married, some divorced, all across the ranges, different perspectives, and we hope to carry them into Parliament. But all this will come to naught unless they mark the cross next to the Workers' Party hammer. Yes, Mohammed.
So last night during the round table, Mr. Changkat mentioned that the Workers' Party likes to take credit for policies implemented, but we do not when it goes wrong.
Yeah. I don't know what he meant by when it goes wrong. I didn't think he explained that. So I can't answer that question. I don't know what he was really referring
He
to.
was talking about the proposal to build fewer HDB flats and the HDB resale market was solved before COVID.
Yeah, but that was in relation to a specific white paper, a specific paper that the WP had put out on birds and the future of the HDB landscape. And I think, again, we had a back and forth with the PAP. They have a particular view, we disagree with it, and it's on public record. And that's the beauty of being in Parliament. Everything is on the record. All Singaporeans can access it.
Marine from Singh. Could I ask, yesterday when he was talking about foreign interference, he mentioned Mr. Thng. Could I get your thoughts about that?
No, I don't want to talk about that. I think that was an incident that happened in the late 90s. It's a very different landscape now, although the concern of foreign interference is real and I respect that. And that's the reason why I had to extend my rally speech by 2 minutes on Saturday in Tampines. I'm sure I'm going to get a note from the police for not sticking to the guideline of finishing by 10 o'clock. But I think it was a serious remark that the Prime Minister had made, and I thought when he decided to step aside and make it very clear that he wasn't speaking about himself as a party man, I think it was important to address that Singaporean to Singaporean. And I think all of us are invested in a country where everyone feels safe, and no matter the color of your skin, no matter your race, language, religion, we treat each other with mutual respect. It is not easy to manage a multiracial society, and I grant that to the government. And I have a lot of respect for everybody in Singapore who has played their part in ensuring that our multiracial ties remain strong, remain robust, and the Workers' Party are one part of it. Oh, I think it was a bit more nuanced about that. Which posts are you talking about? The ones from Malaysia. Actually, I only understood that there were some individuals from foreign political parties when the yearly MHA statement came out. I didn't know who these individuals were. And I think I wasn't aware of those. So, but Nur Diros is a separate issue. That one I knew 1 or 2 days earlier that there's this gentleman who's saying that there's some secret handshake that the WP has done with him, which was not true. But he's a Singaporean. So that's not a foreign interference question. The foreign interference issue really came to light with the yearly MHA statement for me. And as Mr. Faisal mentioned, it was, I think, late afternoon when the statement came out, if I'm not wrong. I want to be careful with my facts. And we dealt with it by the next morning, in spite of all of our teams running different campaigns all over the Eastern House. Yes. Yes. I mean, there's always the concern if one person does it, then the second person does it, the third person does it. So are we supposed to respond to everybody who claims that they've spoken to one of us? So I think it's a question of judgment. And clearly when I think Barita ran the story, which I feel should have at least invited the WP to comment on it first, we dealt with it.
Mr. Pritam, could I just get some clarifications? Just now you mentioned that you disagree with Mr. Ng Jimin's comment that
Yes.
he's a government. Could you elaborate?
No, I just disagree. I think the facts speak for themselves. Yeah.
Especially why, perhaps?
Well, he is the Secretary General of the NTUC, right? Okay, I think we had a good we had a good doorstop today. Thank you for asking all your questions, including questions that were put, or including questions that covered subject matters which were raised in last night's rallies. But I thank all of you for your time. It's day 6. Stay hydrated, and I'll see you again tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you. All the best to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Pritam.
Thank you.